Hey, what's up you guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, hello, I'm Lydia, and if you are new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button, join the growing family, turn notifications on, and while you're down there, give me a thumbs up because it really does help me out. Now, today I want to talk a little bit about my medication. So, psychiatric medication wise, I take a lot of medication. I take clonazepam, vortioxetine, trazodone, haloperidol, lithium, and lorazepam. Now, I've taken these meds for 3 years, 4 years, something like that. And honestly, they have been brilliant. My antidepressant works very well with lifting my mood. And I know I'm in a depressive episode at the moment, so you might think it's not working. But truthfully, it has helped improve my mood and it hasn't made me manic. So I'm grateful. As well as the trazodone helps me sleep, which again I'm grateful for because without medication I cannot sleep. Doesn't matter what I do, how hard I try, I don't sleep without my medication. And I've tried not taking medication to sleep and I just can't sleep. Some days even when I take my medication I can't sleep, but I have chronic insomnia. And with haloperidol I take 15 milligrams of haloperidol. That started last time I was at my mum's because we went to urgent care and they mental health team there increased my haloperidol dose up because I was hallucinating and I was hearing voices and it wasn't very positive. If you want to know more about that, I will link the video up there. I genuinely believe my medication is what keeps me stable because I'm not under a mental health team anymore. I haven't done trauma therapy through my own choice. I chose not to do trauma therapy. I made that decision for myself. And quickly I'll just give you the reason why. I don't want to have to revisit all my trauma and bring it all back to the surface. I think it would make me very unwell again. I reckon I'd end up in hospital again. I'd make attempts on my life again. So I don't think it's a safe thing to do. So I rejected the referral. And I'm not saying that's the case for everybody, but for me, I just thought it would make me a hell of a lot worse. Now, back on the subject of medication, my lithium levels did come back at a high level. So my my lithium got reduced from 1,200 milligrams to 800 milligrams. 800 milligrams seems to be working really well for me. It helps me sleep. My mood's stable. I did have a bit of a blip with self-harm last week, but the video on that is on the iCard up there. So, clonazepam, the last medication to address. Well, it's not the last, I've got lorazepam too, but benzos. So, clonazepam I take 0.5 milligrams at night, every night. That's what I'm prescribed. And I take lorazepam, 1 milligram, or 2 milligrams, depending on how I feel. Now, personally, I don't take it every day, the lorazepam that is, because it is PRN. But when I'm going out, I have to take it because I literally cannot leave the building without it. I mentioned this previously, but I think I developed agoraphobia from keeping myself inside, not interacting with like other people, and yeah, it just hasn't helped really. Now I get too anxious to actually interact with other people. I can text, I can message, I can video call, I can normal call, you know, that's not hard for me. But going out and meeting someone, that causes me anxiety. A really extreme fear in me. Like, it's just scary. My medication allows me to function in society in a way that I wouldn't be able to function How I cope now is by taking my medication. I don't do therapy, I don't do counselling, I don't do DBT, I don't do CBT, I don't do EMDR. I have done ECT when I was in hospital, and I don't regret it, but there are some things I wish I knew beforehand that I definitely could have done with knowing. But yeah, I don't regret doing ECT. I have done DBT twice. I've done CBT so many times. Oh, the amount of times I've done that therapy course. Oof. Yikes. Ooh, there's a pretty screen on my TV. I was watching Hot Fuzz. I like Hot Fuzz. How we discovered it was actually quite funny. So I was at my grandparents and we was looking for something to watch, and this came on the TV and we watched 5 minutes of it and we thought it was hilarious. So we carried on watching it, and then from there I've just started watching it on my own to cheer myself up a bit. Anyway, back to the subject of medication. Personally, I think the best medication I take is haloperidol. Haloperidol has been my life-saving drug. Now, I was on 20 milligrams of it when I was in hospital. I'm working on getting them records as well from that admission, so stay tuned. I was on 20 milligrams of haloperidol, and it made me so physically unwell. I just couldn't get across what I was trying to get across. I made YouTube videos thinking I sounded fine, only to sound like this. Hey, what's up you guys, welcome back to my channel. I thought today that I'd talk a bit about how I actually ended up in hospital, like how I ended up inpatient. So initially I'd taken an overdose of my diabetic medication. I was then taken to Sussex County Hospital. And when I got to A&E I wanted to leave. Boy did I want to leave. I went to the door but it wouldn't open, and I was dragged back by security. One of the doctors there signed the form saying I didn't have capacity. Yikes. And I thought that was normal. It just overtook my perception of what was stable, what was right, to what was wrong. And when people would say, oh, you're slurring your words, I'd be like, no, I'm not, I'm just talking normally. I was slurring my words. So if you're one of them people who commented, you're slurring your words, you were right. It's taken me a few years to kind of accept that, but we got there. Like I said, haloperidol has been my life-saving medication. The next medication I think saved my life was lithium. I started lithium at 100 milligrams and I built it up to 1,200 milligrams, got diagnosed with chronic kidney disease, got my dose reduced to 800 milligrams. Gotta love lithium levels. Lithium works really well with me and it does stop my suicidal thoughts, and it's proven that can happen in some patients with bipolar disorder. I have schizoaffective disorder, bipolar type, so it is proven that it can actually reduce suicidal thoughts and urges, and honestly how it works is so amazing. Like how it lifts your mood and stabilizes your mood, it's incredible. I was on lamotrigine previously and I only lasted on that for 4 weeks because I started off on, I think it was 20 milligrams. Might be wrong there, don't hold me to it. But for when it got increased to 50 milligrams, I think. I really can't remember. I think it's 50 milligrams. I developed a rash. And I took pictures of it, sent it to my GP, and my GP told me to stop taking it. So I did. I didn't last very long on lamotrigine, and I was never offered an alternative because that psychiatrist didn't believe I needed it. Now, I've been fighting to get the right diagnosis for a long time. Now, I do believe I had bipolar disorder. I was 13 when I was diagnosed, and I perfectly believe that was valid, that is what it was. I don't discredit that. I don't think it was anything else, if that makes sense. Then we have the BPD diagnosis, and yes, I did meet the criteria for it for about 4 years, but after that I kind of grew up. That sounds bad. But I sort of just grew out of it. You know, I was sectioned a lot, and it's sad really, because a lot of my adult teenage years, and 21, 22, 23, a lot of that I was really unwell, and I was in hospital, and when I turned 24 I was sectioned on a section 3, and I was given 6 hours leave, and that's the most leave I'd had the entire time I'd been in hospital. I kind of grew out of the BPD diagnosis, and it's no longer on my record, so it's been removed. So yeah. And we have the anxiety diagnosis, the depression diagnosis, the PTSD diagnosis, the EDNOS/OSFED diagnosis. You know, I don't come in a small package, guys. I might be short, but the package is huge. I'm using 2 different lights to light me right now. You can probably see the shadow there. Yeah, I'm using 2 lights. One's about to die because it keeps flickering. But yeah. Honestly, medication saved my life. And I'm going to be forever grateful for that. And to the psychiatrist I had last year that changed my diagnosis to schizoaffective disorder because it matched my symptoms, thank you. And with that, I'm going to end the video here. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Peace.